Hello, folks. I'm looking at some charts for a client this weekend. I guess really not the weekend. It's Friday, Christmas. Merry Christmas for those of you that celebrate it. Um, and in this video, I'm looking at Airbnb, and it's kind of interesting. The stock just IPO'd on December 9th, and then its first trade date was December 10. So we've got a very limited amount of data to work with as far as doing technical analysis. And so what I've done is drop down to the 1 hour time frame so that I have more price bars to work with when I'm trying to see what is this stock up to in its limited life on the public exchanges so far. Um, and so let me caveat that when we drop down to these lower time frames, um, the accuracy of some of our techniques is not as great, and so we just want to keep that in mind um, as we're working in these lower time frames. And then also, because we are down at these lower time frames, they get blown out very quickly. We'd come into Monday's open, and stock goes vertical and blows out all of our analysis from Friday at the close. But so anyway, let's continue. Um, and so in this first chart, we are looking at, this is a Fibonacci extension tool. And so with Fibonacci extension, what we do is we need three price pivots to apply the tool. And then what the Fibonacci extension gives us is a fourth point as a potential price target where we are likely to see, the odds are higher that we will see a price reversal or at least a pullback. That basically we're expecting some kind of price reaction at these levels of the Fibonacci extension tool. And so what I would note here is that potentially on that is the, what is that? That's the 22nd. That price may have already reached that D target, the completion of this Fibonacci extension pattern, and is now rolling off to do something different. Let me also point out that if we were to believe that this was a valid application of this tool, we would note that now the last level of support, potential support, has failed, and that would suggest that price is headed all the way back down to the start of where we drew the tool, at least to this C point, which is, that's another $10 lower. So anyway, that's not a very bullish um, perspective in this chart. Let's continue. So now we're still in the same time frame, 1 hour time frame, but we're going to look at, this is the Fibonacci retracement tool. And so with the Fib retracement tool, we only need two price pivots. And so in this case, I've picked A and B. And so what the tool predicts for us is a potential area of support where price will potentially reverse and then continue its previous trend. And so, that's the key idea when we're applying Fibonacci retracement. We're assuming that the existing trend will continue once the correction is complete. And so this just not to give it away, but this is the most bullish perspective of this stock that I see personally, is that potentially price has done a temporary peak at point B, It's done a Fibonacci retracement back to the 382 level, which that's a very common retracement level, and that we would subsequently see a resumption of the previous trend, which of course in this case was up. And so that's the bullish perspective. Um, you know, probably, no, not probably. We certainly want to wait and see. We need some bottoming action to occur at this 382 level, and then see some hints that price wants to head higher in a new up leg. And so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Got one more chart and then we are done. This is Andrew's pitchfork, and it's doing a pretty good job of describing the price action. I didn't indicate the price pivots, but same thing with Andrew's pitchfork. We need three price pivots, and so we got an A and a B and then a pullback to C. And Andrew's pitchfork is a more useful tool than the fib tools, because not only does it give us a potential D point, it gives us a series of support or potential support and resistance areas as price continues doing whatever it's going to do. And so in this case, we see that price hit the upper median line, pulled back, upper median line, pulled back, dropped below the median line, did a retest of the median line below. That test failed, and then price dropped off to the lower median line. We get a big reaction there. It's an interesting big doji candlestick, and not only a doji but a wide-ranging doji. There was a lot of energy expended in that one price bar. When we see these long tails or whiskers, whatever you want to call them, and again in Japanese candlesticks you'd call this a doji. This indicates that buyers and sellers are battling with each other in this 1 hour time frame, and neither one of them is willing. Well, one of two things. They're not willing to commit to a direction. So I'm not really sure. So I'm not going to bet the farm on I'm going higher, and I'm not going to bet the farm on we're going lower. Just kind of unequivocal at this point. And then the other possibility is that this was an all-out epic battle that just came to a stalemate. Neither the bulls nor the bears were strong enough to push price in either direction. And regardless of what happened on that price bar, we can see that clearly price headed lower. We get another interaction at the next. This is the first lower extension of this Andrews pitchfork, and interesting that we're getting these doji price bars or candlesticks right at the median lines. And of course now we've got, this was on the close yesterday, we've got price coming down into this would be our second lower extension line of the Andrews pitchfork. And so we've got a potential support area there. If that doesn't hold, we come down to this prior low as another, that would be a potential support area. The indicators that we typically look at, of course, here's MACD. And so MACD, it is up in bull mode. We got both indicator lines up above the zero level of the indicator, but we are on a sell signal. And then stochastics energy is extremely low. There's no energy here for price to zoom higher. And then this is the accumulation distribution indicator, and it suggests that investors are not accumulating this stock. So, um, and now let me caveat again that, take all this for what it's worth, because we're working with a very limited amount of data to be making decisions based on indicators. So, and then volume, not much we can discern from volume. Let's get rid of these things. Get a little more detail on volume. That doesn't really help. Okay. Um, Wait a minute. We ought to be able to expand that. Can I do it? No? No. Well, not going to worry about it. Okay. Yeah, so really not much we can discern about volume other than I would point out that at no point beyond the IPO did investors come in here with lots of volume and drive this thing higher. And so, all in all, I wouldn't be very bullish on. I wouldn't be very bullish on this particular stock. I'd definitely be waiting for it to pull back. Here's our bullish picture. I would definitely be waiting for Airbnb to pull back to this 382 fib retracement, demonstrate that it wants to go higher before I made any trading decisions on this stock. That's all I got. Have a fantastic Christmas, folks. See ya.